Hello and welcome to You Love Us. In this episode, it's me and Darren again, talking about the Manics. This time, Darren's going to give us his thoughts on the Royal Albert Hall gig, followed by Rewind the Film. Hello, Darren.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good afternoon, isn't it? Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter, everyone, indeed. And this is unusual for us because this is the earliest we've ever recorded. We feel like we've got proper day jobs now, don't we?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I saw the gig at Royal Albert Hall.
Yep.
I saw them 10 years ago at the Royal Albert Hall. So they were celebrating the Everything Must Go album. Obviously, that was one of the best gigs I've ever been to because it's such a great album and to introduce that album at all. So, I love any Manics gig. Don't get me wrong, but this just seemed there were some songs. Some odd choices for songs. Okay. Because this is a special gig. Yeah. It's a one-off. It's not part of a tour. Things like that. Yeah. So it's part of the Teen Cancer that Robert Smith he curates, and he asked the band to join. So cool. The opening track, Motorcycle Emptiness. Obviously, no messing around. Straight into a career-defining anthem. Obviously, everyone loves this song. So. We love this track. It's a 6.5 minute track or whatever it is. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Never get sick of this song. From there, Rapid Fire, Run Through Futurology, which is the next album we will be covering.
It is the next album, yeah.
And they rarely played Roses in the Hospital. I was very surprised to hear that song because they don't often play it. It's a great song. It was a single, for the love of God. Yeah. They seem to have a love and hate relationship with the second album anyway, to be fair. And it's not the last song from this album.
How did it come across when they played it? Was it?
Oh, everyone loved it. It's exactly what you wanted to hear. And you could tell they actually enjoyed doing it. I don't know, did they play it a lot back in the day?
No, I don't think they did. No,
I don't think the album.
I don't know. I think it's that love-hate relationship with the album, but it's not a one I've seen played too often.
Yeah, exactly. And then You Stole the Sun from My Heart, which is always a crowd pleaser. It's the call and response.
Definitely.
Everyone loves that. So the band sounded tight, and James is on top form vocally. They're all very happy. You could tell they were joking with the crowd. Yeah. So these 4 tracks, I just went, okay, we're in for something good. And while I'm not the biggest fan of the latest album, Decline and Fall was actually great live.
Okay.
Actual song.
Yeah.
Because it's got, the ABBA keyboards and so a song you may not enjoy, it's something on Spotify or whatever. Live is always different. I'll happily stand corrected on that.
Yeah, you can engage sometimes more with a song live than you can recorded.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ocean Spray was next, and that was a brilliant song. Now we know it's a very emotional song, and James did a great version. It's about his mum.
Yep.
Things like that. And I had a guest trumpeter. It was the guy from the Dexies.
So, nice.
Yeah. And then what came next was very questionable.
Okay.
They did a cover of Close to Me by The Cure. Now, that is a great pop song. Don't get me wrong. James cannot sing like Robert. I'm sorry. Yeah. It was actually awkward. It was.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just squirming a little bit, and I just it'll be over soon. But after this, La Tristessa was next, and obviously the crowd loves that. Everyone loves the old stuff. So another song off Go Against the Soul, and then up next was This Is Yesterday. Now I look a decent track, but why do they always have to pull this song from the Holy Bible?
Yeah,
I don't get it. Like it's an outlier from that album anyway. It's a Nicky song. I don't know. It's too nice and.
Did James just do it on his own, or did the whole band? See, every time I've seen them do it, it's been that acoustic break track.
Yeah, and that's what I thought was going to happen. Yeah, but no, it was the band, and I see why they do it acoustic.
Yeah, strange choice.
There were glimpses of what could have been, The Secret He Had Missed, and A Design for Life. They landed absolutely perfectly. Obviously, Design for Life, getting that out early. Mid, no, it's no longer the end track, which is fine. I'm happy with that because it's so obvious when it ends. It's like, all right, this is the end of the night.
Yeah.
But look, Amias, they played an acoustic. But here we go. So up to the acoustic section.
Yeah.
Everything Must Go. Now I went, what?
That is.
I love this song, and I've never heard it acoustic. I'm always up for, some for an acoustic, but it has to hit. And it didn't. Okay. Nice idea, wrong setting.
Yeah, it's a really. If you're going to do that acoustically, that's be really intimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in a large hall.
No, it's like Everything Must Go is such a great song. And they honestly don't play that song very often.
No.
Yeah, even though it's the name of the album. Okay, late in the set, they here we go. They finally dig deep. Now, no one expected this song.
Okay.
So they played Condemned to Rock and Roll.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit. It was probably the song of the night just because you did not expect this song.
Absolutely.
I don't think I've ever heard this song.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Obviously, off the first album, it's 80 years old. It's sounded like it was recorded yesterday.
Oh, awesome!
Brilliant. People went nuts for this song.
Yeah.
Yep. But then back to the obvious. Your Love Alone. Now we everyone knows my thoughts on this song, and it's like, and once again, it's the only song they pull off. It's the safest pick off Send Away the Tiger.
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so not a complaint. People love it. The crowd went nuts for it. I just think it's a lazy song.
It would have been great to have done Condemned to Rock and Roll followed by Imperial Body Bags.
Yeah, something like that.
That would have been really cool to have done that. Yeah.
So the anchoress was the support act. I called it. I'm not a fan, but the songs I heard, I thought the mix was absolutely fantastic. I went, this is really good. Yeah. So one thing I wish they did, because this is a special one-off gig, why didn't they do a duet with her?
Dylan and Caitlin.
I thought, you took the words out of my mouth. So she does that track. Yeah. But I'm just, because I've been to many festivals and one-off shows and things, and I'm just thinking, look, they're supporting. Just, hey, why don't you do it? It's for charity anyway.
Yeah.
Like, we're not making any money. You're not making money. Why don't you do the lyrics for Your Love Alone? Like, I would have loved it if someone else did it, because I still find it weird when James does Nina's section.
Well, I've seen the anchoress do Your Love Alone Is Not Enough.
I did not know this.
I've seen her do it live with them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That cements my
which is they could have done Little Baby Nothing or anything like that, but to not use it for Dylan and Caitlin, I think is a real shame.
Yeah, so just do that. Look, it's not even my favourite song at all, Dylan and Caitlin. It's quite different. Yeah. It's quite a different track. But play it, because when it's live, it's different.
Yeah.
Because you won't see it very often. Anyway. Totally. It's like a gift for the crowd if you do something like that.
Yeah.
Hey, remember Kylie did eventually do Little Baby Nothing.
She did. Yeah, she did.
And that was, anyway. Yeah. They close out with From Despair to Where. Wow, 3 songs from the second album. Thank you very much. Yeah. And probably one of their worst songs ever. They stumbled into Mighty Little Empire, and it was flat, lifeless, and the crowd visibly drifted.
It's a difficult song, isn't it?
I just thought, why are you playing this song?
Yeah, the tempo of it is just so... Yeah. It's almost like a funeral procession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, even though I'm not the hugest fan of Your Love Alone, at least it's a jump around song.
Yeah.
Like, it's a pop song. It gets everyone jumping, all that. And then you've got Mighty Little Empire. I just went, oh God, way to kill it. It's the toilet break song, because up next is You Love Us, and of course, Jesus,
God. Yeah.
And amazing. But what was great about this song was they played tribute to Richie, and they had like a video collage. Oh, that's nice. On the screen, so they had a giant screen in the background. Nicky donned his feather boa, and I don't need to say how much this song rocks. Yeah. And we come to an end. They finished with an absolutely brilliant version of If You Tolerate This. Not what I thought would end the...
No, it's a strange end one, isn't it?
But they had the confetti cannons and everything. But look, great gig, just some odd choices for this kind of show.
Yeah. I wonder if you should have finished on You Love Us.
I think they should have. They have before. I've definitely seen it.
Yeah, because that's a really good up-tempo. Everyone's buzzing at the end of the gig. Everyone's talking about them, really engaged.
And Richie's on the screen.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Leave a bit emotive. So
yeah. Good. But overall, a good experience then.
Of course, great. And it's a great venue.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll see the Manics anytime. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for that. It's the first time we've had a gig to actually talk about. In this series. So now we get on to the now we get on to the next album in the series, Rewind the Film, or as I just called it off, please rewind the album. It's an unusual album for the Manics when you look at their catalogue. It's obviously an album they were. Well, I feel as though they're treading water somewhat. I think it's part recorded in Wales, part recorded in Germany, part of the same sessions where they recorded Futurology.
That's right.
I think these are the tracks that couldn't work on Futurology and became a holding place album, maybe.
I'm not sure why they did an acoustic album. It's as far from a classic Manics album as they can get. It's actually quite a somber, sad album. But look, it's meant to be completely different to Futurology anyway. So it takes them back to Wales. There's a lot of Welsh mentions on the album. So once again, but it's another looking back album. It's nostalgic, as per the name.
Yeah,
like but so was Postcards from a Young Man.
Yeah,
things like that.
I would agree. It's one that mixes in their love of Wales and their hatred of politics, their hatred of Thatcher. It's almost like it's a folk Generation Terrorist. But maybe not as strong as Generation Terrorist. I struggle with it.
Nowhere near.
Yeah,
I'll be up front. I heard the album at the time a few times. I remember I was working at HMV and we put it on, but I was like going, "What is this? Where's the guitars?" By the way, there's no guitars except for one song, which we'll get to.
Yeah,
but it's nothing against acoustic albums. I'll happily have an acoustic track here and there. They've always added some slower acoustic tracks, but a whole album. I'm sorry, I'm out.
I think one of the things for me that stands out from this album is the lack of dynamics. Everything we listen to in the Manics has got this rise and fall, this call and response in all of the songs, and this album is pretty much bereft of that. It's almost like it's an album written for themselves, for only them to listen to.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that's a shame. I think it's a misstep. I think it could have been a double album. It could have been like Futurology and the Futurology sessions. But being a full release, it took it too far away for me. It was too much of a sea change. Starting off with the Sullen Welsh Heart. We talked about this so many times that the opening track is so important for the album. And to open up with something so bloody slow and that doesn't actually do anything as a track, but then follow up with Show Me the Wonder, it really confused me from the start.
Yeah. They're really good at setting up, like first tracks for setting up the tone and the vibe of the album. And this does, but in the most wrong way.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with Lucy Rose's voice. I think she's fantastic. Absolutely. It's just not for a Manics album.
No.
For me, like if this was a Lucy Rose solo track featuring James, I think it would have I'd think of it differently.
Yes.
Because it doesn't sound like a Manics track.
I would agree. I would agree. And I think that can be levelled at a lot of the tracks on this album. It doesn't sound like a Manics track. The drums are mixed too low. They feel too automated to me. But even when they do get the drums right, in Show Me the Wonder, the drum track's bloody awful. There's drum fills where drum fills shouldn't live, and there's flim-flams and accents, and it's, Show Me the Wonder should have been the first track, but it's such a confused track.
this sullen Welsh art. Have you heard the demo version? So it was the classic thing.
Yeah, I've listened to all the demos. Yeah.
So it was a double CD at the time, and the demos on the other side. But oddly, the demo for this track, James drops the F-bomb quite a few times.
Yeah. Which is
like, going, what?
Well, you should have left it in this album. Then that might have added a little bit of spice to the sugar.
Yeah. It's definitely more of a. Well, it's a very somber track anyway, as is the demo. So, but overall, it's just not an inspiring track for me. It kind of just sits in the background whilst I'm waiting for the next track, Show Me the Wonder.
Yeah. Which is it's more of a typical Manics track.
Yeah,
but
I actually like this song.
I do, but I just don't think it's enough to save the album. It's certainly not. It's. I would say at the very, very best, it's a B-side. Yeah,
I like that.
I don't think it's a. It should have been the first track on the album, but I don't think it should be on the album. if that can make any kind of sense at all,
Yeah. It's a very uplifting track, For me, it's very obviously brass driven.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horns on this album. It's almost like a bit of a northern soul feel.
Yeah. A bit like Empty Souls. It's got that kind of similar kind of drum pattern to it. But I just think the drum pattern is way over complicated in this. Yeah. For the where the horns are coming in, you've got drum fills behind the horns, and it just sounds, to me, maybe that's me just being a bit picky, but it sounds confused.
Yeah. Did you know they were obsessed with 70s Elvis on this album for some reason?
Yeah.
Some of the horns do come through.
Yeah. And the original intention that this album was to be their Nebraska.
Yes, I do think that.
now, come on. We can accuse the Manics of being a little bit pompous at times, but trying to recreate Nebraska with this list of songs was a bit of an ask.
Yeah. So this was the second single, released September 2013, and it was released as 2 7-inch singles, which I do own.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I for some reason, not for some reason, I like collecting them, and I made sure I collected all their 7 inches as well. So, no brainer. Why not? Whether I listen to them, no,
Yeah.
It's about completing that collection, isn't it? So,
yeah. So was it successful as a single, though? Was it like a number 4 or something like that?
No. The album did. I think the album came in at number 4 or something like that, highest it went. But none of the singles did anything. This was the only physical single at the time. Yeah. So the lyric, "Show Me the Wonder." Which other song does that feature in?
Oh my God!
You're going to kick yourself.
I'm going to kick myself straight away. Go on.
It features on "Know Your Enemy," "Found That Soul," "Show Me the Wonder."
Of course it does.
So I find that interesting.
Yeah. So from "Show Me the Wonder" into Rewind the Film with the great Richard Hawley, I think he's wasted here.
Straight out, I'll just say I never understood his appeal. He's got that baritone voice, but I never got into the long pigs or his solo stuff.
Yeah.
It's because of his crooner style delivery. I remember his album got released around this time as well.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
Everyone's giving it 5 out of 5 and all that kind of stuff. And I just went, don't get it. I don't see it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
My other concern with this track is if you listen to it, I think it needs to be a little bit faster. There's something wrong with the tempo of it. I feel as though I'm leaning into it when I'm listening to it. Like sometimes when you're going up a hill in a car, you feel the urge to lean forward to help the car get up the hill a bit quicker. Yeah. I just lean into this track and I'm thinking a touch faster and I could engage with it.
Yeah. So this was the first song we heard on the album. So this was released talking about July. Not an official single, but I think it's too long. It's 6 minutes 30.
Yeah.
The bits I like are actually, so there's a part around the 3 minute mark and then around the 5 minute 20 mark, because that's when Sean comes in with the drums, and it's when James comes in with more urgent vocals. So, because obviously Richard Hawley, he sings the slow section.
He does,
yeah, and then the Manics come in and do that. That's the part I like. So it seems like the James part.
Yeah, I would agree, because the James part adds what the album's missing, and that's dynamics.
Yeah.
That's that rise and fall, and that's what the whole album's missing. But that track benefits from when he comes in and does it.
Yeah. Now, did you know this heavily samples a track by David Axelrod?
Oh, right.
So the track is called Little Girl Lost, and it's in 1969, which is an instrumental, by the way.
Yeah.
And it mainly samples the slower part of it. So I think Nicky was listening to this at the time, things like that. Yeah. So he's obviously added in the lyrics, and the arrangement is slightly different as well. So, and it doesn't go for 6 minutes 30, but it's definitely more of a Nicky song, because the demo, Nicky sings Richard Hawley's parts, which I think actually suits his vocal range, to be fair. So, but overall, I'm not a huge fan of this track, to be fair. No. So.
Okay, so from Rewind the Film, we go to Builders of Routine. Now, oh dear, I can't believe I wrote this. A promising start that then turns into a sea shanty. And I've written promising start on quite a few of these tracks, but it just... All I could see when this track was going on was big beards and Aaron sweaters.
Well, it's a Nicky song, and it's a song about mundane repetition, domestic life. We both know he loves, his OCD, likes to keep things clean. He loves to hoover.
Yep.
Apparently, a lot of his family were ill around this time, so he wasn't. So he was kind of cleaning the house, things like that. I found there's an interesting lyric. Not the hugest lyric guy. Yeah. Manics definitely introduced me to digging deep into lyrics, obviously a long time ago. But so the lyric goes, "So sick and so tired of being for real." Now, it is the numeral 4, so now we know what for real is. So it's interesting that he's bringing for real back.
Which he brought back in the last album as well.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of Richie is still very present.
Yes.
In their thinking and in their writing, which is to be applauded. Yeah.
And Sean plays a flugelhorn.
There's
a solo on the flugelhorn.
Hey, you can't say they don't add variety to their tracks.
That's true.
Yeah.
But it's an easily skippable track, so.
Yeah, I think I found the same with Lonely Roads as well, the next track. I just felt it was a track that went absolutely nowhere.
Yes, I completely agree. It's got Kate LeBon, another she's got a great voice, you know. But to me, it sounds like a track the Manics wrote and gave to Kate LeBon, you know, because she features on most of it. Yeah. Nicky's a little bit in with some backing vocals, but it's the classic of 2 or 3 seconds, and that's it. Yeah. You know, so it is 99.9% Kate LeBon. So there's no James, things like that. So it just sounds like, here's a song we wrote. It's not for us. Let's give it to Kate LeBon in this respect. But it appears on a Manics album.
Yeah. Did it ever appear on a Kate LeBon album separately?
You know what? Never checked it, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, so do I. Because with the Kylie, when they wrote with Kylie, you know, that was Kylie with the Manics writing for it. It wasn't a Manics track, even though it was a Manics track, if you know what I mean. But it wasn't a Manics track featuring Kylie Minogue.
No.
So it's strange that these tracks with the guest vocalist feel so much like tracks written for them that you would expect to appear on their albums, not a Manics album.
Obviously, Nicky getting his voice on a track in the first half of the album, because that's Nicky. I said, but overall, it's a meh track, you know.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. The demo's all Nicky, stripped down version. It sounds more like a Nicky Wyatt solo track to me.
Yeah. Which, was it around this time he had his first solo album, or the first solo album being out for a year?
They both came out in 06.
06, sorry, yeah.
Because that was when Sean wasn't doing anything, playing with the guns or something.
As you do. Next track is I Miss the Tokyo Skyline. Now, this is I started listening to this, and the first thing I wrote down was great intro. And then I got to the end of the track. I went, actually, the whole song is just the intro. It feels like an idea that they've had and not been able to flesh out any further.
I find this an outlier actually on the album because it's not in the same that Welsh folk style on the previous now 5 track. So I kind of do like this track, you know. Given the subject matter, it's about Tokyo. I'm going to Tokyo in May. So
nice.
Yeah. It's obviously about looking back because it's a Nicky track. Nicky loves Japan, things like that. So it's about rewinding, looking back, things like that. Yeah.
I wonder if it had been better on Futurology.
It still fits Rewind the film, to be fair.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I actually really like the demo version. So it's just James' solo acoustic track, and because I'd just seen the gig, I said I'd like to hear this during James's solo section at the gig because I do like the song because it's got that pulsating kind of vibe to it. It doesn't really go anywhere as we said, but there's something about because it's not really a demo in my opinion. It's more of a James acoustic track, and I think it would work really well. I wish they'd done this at the gig because it just would have been completely different. You would never have expected this track at all.
I wonder if it might have been a bit too much of a deep cut for some of the people there.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but most of them even know it.
That's the problem, isn't it?
I do like how the song kind of builds, though, back to the album track. But there's no release at the end; it just peters out. But it kind of works for me. I don't know. It's like I've been transported to Tokyo. It kind of gives me that vibe. And the song mentions Lost in Translation, by the way. Obviously, very Japan. Inspired film. So the lyric goes, everything is happily lost in translation. So. Fun fact, Japan is the first place they got a gold disc. Did you know that?
That would be right, yeah. Moving on to Anthem for a Lost Cause. Now, this is where we get just about the most Manics track on the album, I'd say. It's got plenty of those dynamics again, but I find the drums yet again are mixed way too low in the mix, and it loses that urgency because of that.
So this is the third single, released in November 2013, and for me, it's an obvious single. I'm a somewhat fan of this. What I like about this is there's more horns, but it's the gospel choir. I think gospel choir gives it something else.
It does. It does.
And James's vocal delivery is quite urgent on this track as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's why it's the most Manics track on the album. It's almost a harking back to Everything Must Go. That kind of period, the range of the track. I'm not going to be liked for this one. As Holy as the Soil. I wrote for this one.
That buries your skin, a very manic song title, probably written before they even wrote the song.
Oh, absolutely. And as we said before, I'm sure they do a lot of that. They come up with these really, really amazing titles and then go, let's make a song. This felt like a really bad Beatles parody to me. I did not engage with this track at all.
I said a track that doesn't go anywhere. Yeah. It's a love song to Richie, I read, so it gives it some kind of clout. Obviously, Nicky performed some of the lead vocals. More horns, it's a very dark and poetic track, and it's another track that mentions Japan again. So for me, it just doesn't really go anywhere.
Yeah. 3 Ways to See Despair. This felt to me a little bit like an outtake from the Holy Bible.
Oh, interesting. What makes you think that?
I don't know. It's just the tone of it. the way it's performed. It just feels a little bit Holy Bible to me. Yeah.
So this is the one exception. This features electric guitar and has a guitar solo. So, but it's not bombastic or anything like that. No. For me, it actually has classic rock vibes, like the 60s, 70s classic rock vibes, similar to say, Pink Floyd, as the song built up nicely. This is the song that actually has some really nice drumming by Sean.
Yep.
Like he actually gets to kind of cut loose for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and they're not, you've mentioned all the other songs that the drums are quite low.
Yeah.
For me, this is finally he gets to play some drums slightly heavier.
I would agree.
Yeah. Did you know he wrote this song? Nicky said, we wrote Three Ways to Despair for Morrissey, but we were too scared to ask him. He's the one person I couldn't bear rejection from.
Oh my God. How weird's that?
Yeah.
You'd wonder how he would have actually performed it.
Yeah. What was interesting was actually the demo, and the demo actually features a choir of children, which did not end up on the album. So I found that, and it sounded like there was quite a few children, not just say 3 or 4, a good dozen or so. I just went, oh, that's quite interesting. For me, it didn't work. I see why they left it. I left off the choir. But I do actually like this song. I think it's one of the better songs on the album, for an album I'm not into at all.
I would agree. This is the most scathing thing I think I've ever written about a Manics track ever. Running out of fantasy. Wake me up when it's finished.
Running out of ideas.
Yeah. What the hell is this song? It just felt like a demo idea where they just thought, let's repeat ourselves for 3 minutes. Yeah.
So he finger picks. I'm not a guitarist, but it sounded like finger picking.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
For me. Do you know what? When songs aren't great by the Manics, what saves it is normally James's vocal delivery.
Yes,
and I
would
say agree. That's a positive for this track.
Yeah.
James's vocal delivery kind of saves it.
Yeah. But even his delivery, as good as it is, can't hide the fact that this is musically very, very weak.
Yep. Yeah. For track 10, a lot of the other, a lot of these kind of tracks are buried near the end.
Yeah.
So, it was never going to be a single or anything like that. That's why it's down by the end. So
okay. So Menorbia then, that's I've mostly pronounced that incorrectly, but this is definitely a link to futurology. Come on.
Well, it's obviously a Welsh word.
Yeah.
What's a place, isn't it? So a return to Wales, geography as an identity. So this is actually an instrumental.
Yeah, and I think it's really, really interesting.
Which is the first time an instrumental has appeared on a Manics album. Yes, there's been various B-sides. I actually really like this track.
Me too.
It doesn't suit the album at all.
No, not at all.
It's very different to the other instrumentals. The others have been very more electric guitar driven, but they're all B-sides. So and the good thing about their B-sides is the way I like them is that they've never fit an album's agenda. Oh, this one has to kind of fit the album agenda. So it loses a little bit for me, but I got to say it's kind of a bit haunting.
Yeah.
And why they didn't do vocals is a mystery, but love it.
Yeah.
I think it's unexpected.
Yeah. My only minor criticism is I would have made it the last track of the album.
I agree, because 30-Year War, which is the final track, is I see this as a connector to the next album, Futurology. So it is that, as you say, the last track.
Yeah.
Then this one is kind of a separate track. Connects Futurology.
And I quite like 30-Year War as well. I think it's the only track on the album where Nicky gets to play, because it's got a cracking bass line in it. Yeah.
Well, they get angry. They get angry in this album.
Yeah.
And so it's not about Thatcher, it's about Thatcherism.
Thatcherism, not Thatcher herself.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
About Yeah, about the establishment for the last 30 years, hence 30-Year War.
Yeah.
So this could have been a lot more rockier, but I think they wanted to fit it on the Rewind the Film album.
Yeah.
You know, I just wish James just said, look, I want guitars on this. Because I think it would have been a good ender.
Yeah.
I know it's an ender, but a good ender as more angry. And then, because I know there's futurology coming up. Wonder what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
So
I think we'll talk about the B-sides in a tick, but unfortunately a bit of a misstep for the band. Maybe, I don't know, maybe an album of outtakes, an album of songs we never thought we'd release, but certainly not an album for a full release in that format.
Yeah. Look, I didn't rate the album at the time. And honestly, I still don't rate it. So.
Yeah, I would say as a collection, it's the weakest album they've released.
Easily, by far.
Yeah, because there are no truly memorable songs on there. You know, really. if you had to pick a track off every album to create a playlist, I think you'd struggle to pick a track off that which was cohesive to the playlist. Yeah. It would just jump out at you. So from a B-sides point of view then, you know, what was out there
Okay, some I actually had not heard, only because obviously I never really got into the album, so I didn't really dive deep. As I said, the 2 7-inches were released. I had those. So there's a track called What Happened to the Blue Generation. Now, normally we just pick and choose some B-sides, but there was only 5, so we're going to talk about them. I just said an easily forgettable track in the same vein as the album. It's just that there was so many of these kind of tracks.
Yeah.
You can't just make this a 13, 14, 15 track album. This track leans too heavily into overt political commentary, whereas the album focuses more on personal reflection and memory. So I can see why this was kind of a B-side. Another track was called T.E. Lawrence on a Bike.
Great title. They definitely came with that title first.
Yeah, exactly. So it references T. Lawrence, better known as Lawrence of Arabia. So this is a JDB solo track. It's maybe solo electric track though, which is unusual. And Lawrence of Arabia, sadly, he loved motorcycles, but he passed away. He had a fatal accident, things like that. For me, what I got out of it, the bikes is symbolic and represents freedom, things like that. You know, I think it's a bit too niche to go on the album, so that's why I was left off. I'm going to bastardize the next track's title, Melancholy. So this was a digital-only B-side. Look, it's mainly an acoustic track with kind of a repetitive military drum pattern. Okay, you know, it's about melancholy. So it was okay. It sounded like a one and done. How does this sound? Yeah, good. Done.
We'll do that.
Yeah. Death of a Digital Ghost. So this is Nicky Wire doing lead vocal.
Yay, we got to have one.
In his usual monotone singing style.
Yeah.
About how people exist after death.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite a thing to sing about. A good topic to write about, but it's a very lackluster track. So final track is See It Like Sunderland.
Okay.
So it references Graham Sunderland, who was a British painter known for his stark, sometimes unsettling landscapes, you know, a distorted expressionistic imagery.
Yeah.
It has an electric guitar on it.
Hey.
It's an instrumental. There you go. And it's actually a really good track for an instrumental as well. It's got some piano on there. But this is the closest track the band get to a shoegaze dream pop track. It is completely different. If you tell me this was a Manics track, so there's no lyrics, so it finishes on a high, you know. But as I said earlier, that because this didn't have to, because it's a B-side, it doesn't have to, you know, fit the album. So that's why this is more of a shoegaze dream pop track. So yeah. But I think it's actually all right. And that is it for Rewind the Film.
Yeah, it's a funny period for the band because if you look at a couple of years before Rewind the Film, you had Postcards from a Young Man, then the release of National Treasures, the Greatest Hits, the Singles album. Coming back with Rewind the Film after a Greatest Hits is such a strange decision.
Oh, massively.
And it's. I thought they would have been far better off coming back with Futurology.
I completely agree.
Which is because Rewind the Film feels a bit like a sidestep as opposed to a step forward. Because obviously they had the Berlin sessions and they had a lot of Euro burning in them at the time. And going straight from the singles to Futurology would have kept their presence much higher with the fans, I think.
I wonder if there was thoughts of releasing Futurology first and then Rewind the Film. Because I didn't really tour this at all.
No, I think they did 3 shows, didn't they? Which tallied with
something
the
like
rugby, with some rugby tour or something. Yeah, they did Australia.
Off to Australia.
Yeah.
But guess what? They played nothing off this album. So Nicky said, we're not going to play anything off this album. So,
which is a strange decision. I just think that it was a missed opportunity. As you know, there will be people out there that have a massive fan or emotional connection with this album, and that's great. You know, it's subjective. Music is subjective, but going straight from the singles to Futurology makes so much more sense.
Yes,
you know, artistically and from a business point of view. Yeah,
and we will get to it next time. But it is a very different record. Like there's a bit of krautrock in there.
Yeah,
more guests, by the way.
Yeah,
but it just makes more sense that they would have released Futurology first, straight after this double CD, double album of hits, of hit singles. I wish I went to that gig. I wasn't in the country. I was back in Australia, sadly. Did you go to that show at all?
No, I didn't. I don't think I did. No,
wish I did, because they didn't do many. I think they just did 2 shows at Brixton Academy or something, and then they did Japan or something. Yeah, so, and that was it.
It was a bit of a strange time for the band. You know, the sales were still reasonably okay. You know, the albums are going over 60,000, which, when you think about the upsurge of digital, Spotify and Apple Music, is still not to be sneezed at. But I don't know. It just smacks to me of them getting some pretty poor business advice. Not that I know anything about it or have any indications, but it just feels as though they weren't being given the best steer at that time.
Yeah. Hey, middle age had kicked in for them. I think they're 44 or 45 on this album. So.
Yeah, it had, but it allowed them to settle a little bit lower than where they were. You know, with Postcards, they were back on a surge, and then it dipped. And Futurology, as good as Futurology is, and as different as it isn't the album to pull you back up to pre-Postcards. Yeah. It's 50,000 plus for Futurology, 60,000 for Rewind the Film. But they were selling a hell of a lot more than that before the digital domination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, thank you, Darren, sir. You're very kind. You've survived well with your man flu. Well done. Rewind the Film or Rewind the album shall be consigned to maybe listen to it once every couple of years.
I think this is it. This is the last time.
I was trying to be polite.
Being honest.
I was trying to be polite. I really was. There's nothing in there that draws me back to it, which is a pity. But we've got a heck of a lot more to talk about in the next album.
Yeah. Oh, look, I always make playlists, compilations for each year. And I will add in, for my 2013, I reckon I'll add in that instrumental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
Men of Beer, things like that. I kind of just liked it. You know, there was something about it. Maybe I miss the Tokyo skyline because, as I said, I think it's just really good timing for me that I'm going.
Yeah.
to Tokyo in less than a month.
Yeah.
And I really did find I got transported for a second. I went, oh,
yeah.
So I think that's, if a song does that, even though I'm not into this more folk style,
yeah.
the song did that. I went, okay, who knows down the line when I listen to that playlist, say in a year's time, I'll probably play this song and go, oh yeah, that's right. And I'll see how I feel about it.
Well, music's there for making connections, isn't it? Whether it be emotional or geographical or whatever. And if that track does that for you, absolutely spot on. All right. Okay. Well, from me, it's thank you for listening. And from Darren, it's
goodbye, g'day, and goodbye.
Goodbye.